actually help save people. So I went with the real deal on this. This is not a phone app. I will also tell you, as I go through these devices and I assign them out, you're going to have questions, I promise. Hang on to them. 99% of those questions will probably be answered at our hands-on at the next stop, just so you guys know. Otherwise, we'll be at this spot until 2 in the morning. So, and Jessica's already like, how long are we going to be out? So, all right, so quick demo. Thermal imaging, you guys should be able to see me in there. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy. So that means I'm the hottest thing inside the picture, ladies. So, I know, right? So, we're looking for blue and black spots. Drake's already like looking at me like, really, man? So, we're looking for those blue and black spots to be moving on their own or to take shape. So, do I capture a ton of evidence with this guy? Normally about 4 to 6 very solid pieces per year. This year alone, I've already caught 2, and they were within the past couple of weeks. So again, it's been pretty active out here lately. Now, again, there's a couple of cool things I like to point out because you're going to get this full video back. And it's already recording, so you guys actually have basically the how-to instructions on how to watch it. There's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. It's giving us the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment with a temperature. So that way we can compare it to the ambient temperature of the crosshairs in the center. So with that said, it's kind of helping direct your eye on where those blue and black spots are. Is it always going to be on that blue dot? It is not. So even the best evidence that I have, the blue dot never even went there because it wasn't the coldest spot there. I just seen it growing and taking shape before the camera person didn't realize what was happening. So again, we didn't actually get to see the coldest spot of that particular anomaly. But that's going to help direct your eye when you're watching it. As great as the hardware is, the software sucks. So I will give the user a few starts and stops with this just to make sure like we're going to be able to capture everything we possibly can. It will stop, like it will lose all footage if it actually freezes up on us and record for too long. So Jessica, because this is kind of a lone wolf thing, I need you to handle that. Now, you're going to hold that horizontal all night long. Your fingers are now over the camera. There you go.
Figured that out.
Yeah, you don't want to hold it by the camera either.
Nice.
It's an attachment. So even when I give you the starts and stops, make sure when you restart it back up again, you're in that exact position with the camera to your left. That's the wire side. So otherwise, the video is going to be sideways because I splice them all together for one video. And then I got to give out your phone number because everyone else is going to be mad at me. So, because if we all have to watch it like this to try to capture the anomaly, it's never fun.
So I got to go that way?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to stay that way.
All right, I'll
always
stay
hold
this
it
way.
horizontally. Let's get out both cameras. Let's get those out and about. Get those moving.
Am I supposed to just keep recording?
Yeah, you're a camera person the whole night.
Am I? Cool.
You are. The next camera. This one operates a little different. So let me get this guy fired up and show you how this one works.
Might be your other 2 people.
Might be. Clean up. Are you Megan? Yes. Aha, you made it.
I'm so sorry.
Are you okay?
So sorry.
This is all on me. All on me.
All right. So to catch you up in like 5 seconds.
Yes.
This is not an ordinary ghost tour. You're going to be working.
Yeah. We listen to your podcast.
Oh, awesome.
You have a podcast?
No, it's too much to handle with all the gear and all of that. And the fact that you guys are all here, because he's my ESA, so yeah, you guys are all here to keep an eye on me. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just glad you actually made it. So good deal. And I'm not worried. Like I didn't know if you were reaching for your phone, like for tickets. No. I'm too laid back. Don't worry about it. We're here to have fun. We're not here for formalities. All right, next camera. As soon as I get this guy up and running, it's being a little finicky. What'd you do to my camera?
I'm sorry. I brought my tarot cards. Is there a good spot for that?
Ooh.
Really not as like. How do I put this?
They don't like them?
It's not that. It's I don't know that you're gonna have the space to be able to work.
Gotcha.
All right. You should not be able to see me in this camera. It should be pretty dark in there, right? So I know it's small.
pretty dark.
It's a little tiny GoPro. But again, we're gonna turn on some lights. I should be now in a purple hue.
Yes.
So kind of you should be able to see me pretty clearly right now.
Yes.
So we're working with IR lighting. So this is full spectrum lighting, light we cannot see with our own eyes. So basically this is emitting 2 different lights, a short range and a long range. And the camera can see the light, but we can't. So the hope here is that we're going to be able to capture something that we would not normally be able to see with our own eyes. So again, this is an odd camera because it does all kinds of things. I actually have an accompanying item that's going to go along with this. So John, I'm going to actually hand this one off to you. We're not recording yet, but I will tell you, kind of always give you the cues for that. And of course, I'll show you more about that camera at our first stop.
Nice, John. I'm good at recording.
And it's Kevin, right?
How are you now?
It's Megan and Kevin.
We have the reliable one.
Oh.
It's Megan and Kevin, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's make sure I got names right. All right. Next devices. This is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember a damn thing when we're done.
Sweet.
It's a joke, guys. Come on, keep it light.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, hit them so that we didn't work late.
Oh.
Okay.
We'll just heckle you all night.
Oh, okay.
Lasers.
Oh.
Yeah, nice and bright. So,
Wow.
lasers. This is going to actually accompany the camera that John's using. John is, I know.
I gotta hold all this shit?
No,
I was thinking.
Alright, I'm in on just this. Alright.
you're just the camera.
Thank you. I'm ready.
Why do we use lasers with that camera? Because we're hoping to find motion within the lasers. So the whole point of this is that you can see obviously the stars on the ground, but you can't see the lasers until something passes through it. We're hoping to be able to capture something through that camera because it lights up like a Christmas tree, and then I'll be able to give you the still so you can actually see what we caught. We're going to use two different style of lasers. We're going to use red squares at the same time as obviously the green stars side by side. We don't cross the streams. Bad Ghostbusters jokes, but it does work here. So the red squares, why do I want this one? Is because if we capture something here, I'm going to take the still from that, put it in 3D software, and give you guys a full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements.
Cool.
So hopefully we'll be able to capture something pretty cool. I've had this for about a year now, and the software is yet to be able to take anything that we've actually caught because it can be a little blurry at times. So we're going to be using both of these. Leslie,
Okay.
these only go to adults.
Okay.
So lasers stay on the ground. This one is run by, like where my finger is waving, there's a little button, you have to hold it. And then this one, you have to be careful because there's a toggle switch. Once it's on, it's on. You have to turn it off. So you don't want to be flashing cars and getting Nick arrested and all that kind of stuff. So just be very, very mindful.
Oh, boy.
Lots of
So
responsibility
you're
there.
going to tell me when to turn it on?
Oh yeah, I will always
Okay.
give you the
Hey, you did a good job
cues.
there, Liz.
Okay. Just making sure. I
Oh,
can-
there you go.
Okay.
Let's get into spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. And they're all going to do something a little bit different. I do have two of these just because everybody loves these, and so do I. It's my favorite one. But anyway, spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So we're going to be, it's kind of like the white noise you guys see on your TV stations. And basically your host will tell you the BS he thinks he heard in the middle of the screen trying to convince you of the same thing. It's normally a disembodied voice of what they're claiming to catch. Now, disembodied voices are a rarity in my field of work. I've been doing this a long time. So I capture about 4 to 5 of those per year where it's like a Class A rec. I don't have to tell you what it says kind of thing and show you the words. So there's another method you can use. You can slow these down. It's going to sweep through the FM radio stations, but I have it as slow as it can possibly go. I want the radio chatter to come through. So Sarah, you're actually going to be listening for song lyrics, DJs, and commercials to come through. If you hear Buy It Now, I want to know that you heard Buy It Now.
You picked the right one.
So
What happens if she gets rickrolled?
if she what?
Gets rickrolled.
She'll be fine.
If I did what?
Rickrolled.
So
Oh,
Sorry, bad joke.
gotcha.
now,
Gotcha.
with this particular one that I'm handing out right now, Sarah, this is going to record the entire session for us.
Okay.
So you're going to have an earbud in. Now, the two that I hand out, both of them are going to have earbuds. So they're going to be the only ones to hear it in real time. However, Sarah's is going to record. So you guys are all going to get the recording tomorrow morning. I keep a little notebook with me. I will be recording whatever she writes, like whatever she hears. I'll be manually writing it down so it goes into your notes. But I'm also going to spot check this recording and give you about 15 to 20 other markers of things that I find. So whether it's relevant or not. Leslie's like, really, what did we sign up for? I've seen that one. So with that, some of those things might not be relevant at all. It's just to help you learn how to listen to this type of audio. If it is relevant, I can usually tie it, like it's a 50-50 shot. I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of us. It happens all the time. So in the event of one of those three things, I'll obviously tell you why with the verification link to be able to double check your work, my work, basically. So I already have this set up to record, and there's a set of earbuds. You just have to undo the twist tie, and I don't want them back. So the volume button is right there where my index finger is, so you use it at your own discretion. You cannot mess up the recording with the volume. Yes. Perfect.
Any like angry, violent spirits?
No.
Okay, cool. Do you have a Ouija board?
No.
I do, but not here.
We're not doing
We don't.
that.
We use all
I brought mine.
electronics.
We're not doing that.
Oh, okay.
We use
well,
all electronics. The only reason I do that, and kind of why I was poking fun at the whole dowsing rod thing before you got here, is because that could be subjective to the user. The rest of us might see it going on, but we don't know that that person's not making it move.
Right.
So again, this is why we use electronics for the actual data for everybody to be able to share what's actually going on in the moment.
Gotcha. So this is recording the entire thing.
Yes.
I took some shots earlier, so I apologize in advance to everybody in the party.
You'll be okay. So that kind of mentality.
Was I supposed to be recording?
Yeah.
Whoops.
Well, you unplugged the camera by accident, so it stopped
Oh,
recording.
so it stopped recording.
So
My bad,
hit
guys.
the circle.
I did.
Okay. You're back on?
I'm back
Perfect.
on, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, don't pay attention to the timer. The timer likes to just lock up. It's fine.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
keep working. Yeah.
That's what I was
Alright.
thinking.
All right.
So let's talk about why we started here. Because of course we're started at a haunted location. Of course we did. You guys are gonna keep me on my toes tonight for sure. I can feel it. So,
Try not to.
you'll be fine. Big John's. There's a reason why we started here. So Big John's was actually owned by a football player, Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a building, I will always slow down on certain key words. I'm from the north. I talk fast. So when I slow down on key words, you're going to find that those are usually relevant to the Spirit Box folks. So 1947, New York, and Giants, and obviously anything relatable to a bar or football would be relevant here. We're going to talk more about that at the next stop. But he used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out. So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. So he has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry and they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, he puts down his beer and goes over and just starts pounding these guys into the floor, just beating the hell out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands in the wall behind him. So he got hurt. So he gets up after being shot and goes back to the bar. He's the only one that got shot, by the way. And tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in an ambulance. So the irony of the story is that nobody died in that story, so what's haunting the place? The bullet hole is allegedly still here. Even at the renovation of the Big John's that we're now looking at, even if they filled in that where the bullet hole used to be, Big John's blood is still in this building. People that sit in the front of this building usually tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headache, just light symptoms. And a lot of those claims come from what you guys tell me, which is very interesting. Not you specifically, but my groups, because a lot of people will go eat there. So this is kind of your heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity. I don't know how it's going to affect any of you. If anybody starts to feel any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. It's a big deal. So again, we need to move the whole party and get that one person to safety. So is that fair for everybody? Sure. It's probably the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night long, by the way.
Fair.
Let's
Drake's face.
you sure about
Like,
this?
what?
Same building. If you've taken any kind of Charleston history tour, you know that we had a big earthquake here in 1886. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the building behind me also wraps around to the front of the building on the east bay side. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I have no proof. It's just so that nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour now that I brought it up again. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
I think Sarah's like the look on her face is
Check
just
for
phenomenal.
screen. It's not going up and down.
No, I screwed it off.
Oh, yeah, don't hit the button.
I did.
Okay, so
Don't do that.
I did.
you gotta hit the wheel. Now I gotta restart your recording. You're good. So, again, only the wheel. You got this.
It's good. Well,
All right.
But it went up to like 100.
that's what,
Yeah, that's radio stations. Those are the FM frequencies.
back in the old days, that's how far people went. Man.
Radio.
Yeah, it's the radio station.
Back in the old days,
I
there was
got like the thermals. We gotta like work together.
So I need 2.5.
you could tell him.
I do. That's my trigger.
All night long, man. Every single night I get a ghost. Because I stopped.
She's kind of psychic too.
All right, we got everybody here. Cool. So, I want you guys to think of your entire time. Ooh, good deal.
Whoa,
I gotta write that down. So,
hold on. This thing's busting out.
we've already got a 15 million now. So where's the? Got anything going on?
Look at it. Look at it.
Okay. So we got 15 on yours. So just have to keep an eye on that big number. All right. No, I want you guys to think of your entire time with me as kind of a ghost hunting 101 course. We're gonna be leveling up as we kind of go on throughout the night. So remember, most of you have never done this. That come and see me. So I make it nice and easy at the very beginning. This is the big red barn lot. This is where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. It's behind you, over there. So The horses are inside, so it's an absolute no laser zone because they will get spooked. And no pressure either, but lasers will set off car alarms. I don't like to run with 9 people. I'm usually last. So,
So he's telling me don't hit. I
yeah.
think.
Notice I didn't give her all of that info at once.
Oh
I
my.
keep staggering it.
That was
So,
pretty nice.
so the history here is really simple, and I made it that way on purpose, just because I needed a one-liner so I can show you guys more about your devices. We're not going to be here for very long. The only history here is that this is the same red barn where they held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston, 1860s and 1920s, roughly. So let's talk about spirit boxes, because I think there's 5 of them in play tonight with a group of 9. There's actually more than half the group has a spirit box of some type. This is interesting. Did I get that right? Yeah. How many spirit boxes we got?
Everybody has something.
Yeah, but spirit boxes are specific. They're the ones
Okay.
looking for the messages.
Oh,
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So we got 4 out tonight. Okay. I have 6, and sometimes I lose count. Got a bag full of gear, man. But anyway, spirit boxes. This is not television. This is not a Ouija board. This is not anything that you would see on YouTube. This because everybody wants to ask the same question: is somebody here? And if somebody says no, that means somebody's here, right? So we're not. You guys came here for paranormal proof, whether you're a skeptic or not. And I do not want to know who you are if you are a skeptic. But the whole point of this is for you guys to actually have paranormal evidence. You're going to be asking questions that are going to give you specific answers. For example, in this location, I would normally have my folks ask questions you already know the answers to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're going to be looking and listening for the color red. However, 3 out of the 4 spirit boxes are using song lyrics and DJs to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available to them. Fire truck, blood, heart. Those 3 things are specifically red. I would be okay with that answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm okay. However, most of the night I'm going to require a secondary clue to verify what's actually happening around us. For example, let's say Kevin has the word art on his word list, and Drake, you hear the number 40 come out of yours. Neither one of those terms mean anything by themselves, but put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Did you guys see where I have to put all these clues together? And I will withhold information on purpose so you guys all have a genuine experience.
That's your research. That's what you did.
Oh yeah, it's all research, all the time.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, it was a hypothetical. So, does spirit boxes, do you guys get the better gist of how we're going to be using your devices?
yes.
Okay. And we're going to be talking to people from the 1800s. A lot of these people have the same name, Charles's and George's. Like, we need to know who the hell we're talking to. Like, that's basically the reason why, to kind of verify what's actually happening around us. So, let's talk about these cameras. So for yours, Jessica, you're going to try to do 2 things. You're going to try to keep one of us in plain sight at all times.
Okay.
The reason being is because we're going to be the warmest thing out here.
You want the contrast.
Yeah, exactly. So it's much easier to find. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out. The reason I say that is because that blue dot will default to the sky because there's no surface. It's
Gotcha.
looking for one. So that way we can actually see where the blue dot's going to be. Some
Okay.
places that's going to be impossible. Just do your best.
Thank you.
So with your particular camera and the lasers, we're going to do a quick demonstration. So I want to see how you guys, I want to show you how you're going to work together. So first and foremost, I want to show you something where if somebody gets too close to your camera, notice how my hand kind of bleached out?
Yes.
You can turn off the short range and the long range is still working for you.
Okay.
So again, there's a little red button right here. It's Velcroed on. You can't, break anything.
Okay.
So as far as your lasers, Leslie, go ahead and point one of your lasers down for us.
You sure the horses are right there?
I know, but you're not shining in the barn. We'll be fine.
Are we going to see the horses?
No.
Oh.
All right, so basically you want to keep those as tight to you as possible. So like 2 to 4 feet in front of you. You don't want to have like your shoes in there, just like right there on the edge of your shoe. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, John, you're going to actually take a step or 2 back. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be shooting through the laser. Like we already know what the stars look like down. So again, you can, you don't have to hunch over or anything, but basically we're looking for things to actually pop up over here, right where my hand's flashing, in between the pen and the ground.
Yes.
So when you're using those together, which you can, again, you don't want to cross the streams because then it's just pointless. You just created one giant grid instead of one lengthy grid of something else to be able to pass through it. But if you shine them together, the ghost is still going to go through here. It doesn't matter which one they went through.
Okay.
So this way, if you have them out, you can shine them both together at the same token.
Okay.
But basically, that's how the 2 of you are going to work. The slower the 2 of you move, the easier it is to find things. Now, I will debunk a lot of insects that will pass through there, through your video, that kind of thing. So we'll kind of see how, what comes up out of the video. Is this an in-the-moment kind of piece? No. This is usually something you have to review in order to be able to find it. just so you guys know like where you're at in the excitement scale. So it's not usually the highest thing up there in the field, but it is kind of a necessary thing with the motion because we're going to be using the millimeter for motion as well. So we'll kind of see how this goes. All right,
Is this recording now?
No, not yet.
Okay.
At the end of the history of the next spot, where we're
Yes.
actually going to start deep diving, I'll
Yes.
say let's go ahead and get you started.
Yes, sir.
All right. So Megan, I'm going to show you more about that REM pod once we get to the next location, just so that we can kind of get this party moving along. Are you guys done talking about ponies and football players? Because I am. I say we deep dive. Let's go back to colonial times. Let's do this. You guys all got quiet then, like really fast all of a sudden.
Time to go.
This one was really high. It was like sail.
Yeah, it went off
So
the
what
truck.
is the
Emily went off the truck.
tires?
So all of those little red bars is kind of the aesthetic of the app. Again, remember, it's trying to scare people. So again, even like it makes growling noises and all kinds of stupid things. Usually when that red bar is coming out, usually means that the app is going to spit out a word. But sometimes you'll see it come up, words will pop up without those red bars coming up. All right, now we're going to go this way, buddy. Okay. Welcome to another beautiful site, everybody. So, cameras, both of you. Just so you know, when we are out and about with spaces like this, where there's vehicles and people are going to their vehicles, I may do the act casual, kind of like, what's that in Toy Story? Where they say, somebody's coming, Andy's coming, and you guys...
Play dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. So at that point, you'll basically be pointing your camera at the ground, and then you'll basically be playing with a cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Just because people don't like the cars to be filmed, and people don't like to be filmed in general. But you guys signed up for my tour, so you're going to be filmed. That's just the way it's going to go. So, my show. All right. So, welcome to another beautiful space. We already have 15 milligauss, roughly about 15 to 20 that I'm seeing, so that's good. Oh, it went away. That's why they call it ghost hunting. They don't stand still. Do we have any ratings coming out of yours before I
It
get
went over 2.4 for a minute and then it went back down.
Were you on the street or were you in the lot already?
Right here.
Okay, so 2.4. Okay, I'll have to write that one down. So, this site is kind of crazy. So, this is actually one of my biggest hotspots. I love this site, and you're going to find out why real quick. Welcome to the Pinkney Mansion site. Eliza and Charles Pinkney had their mansion in the front of this lot facing East Bay Street.
Oh, 5.3.
Oh, there we go. Hang on to your numbers and your spirit box, folks. When you guys hear things that you think might be relevant, hang on to those until so that way I can just get through the history. Otherwise, again, it just extends the tour because I'm going to be bouncing around with all of us as we kind of explore the space. So 5.4 was the latest one? 3. So kind of hang on to that number for me. All right, so spirit box, folks. I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. So I'm going to withhold information purposely. So, Eliza and Charles, I didn't give you the rest of the layout. So the mansion, Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant, came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters, at least where they used to be for the home. That kind of gives you the layout of the land. Now, Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. Now you guys know why I need secondary clues, because that's 3 different Charleses. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. I hate politics more than you, so we're going to move on. Not to mention, you're all on vacation, so nobody wants to talk about politics. So, Eliza, she married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So when you're asking her how old she was when she got married, it's not going to be like 12 and 14. It's according to today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age. So kind of keep that in mind when you guys are asking about their ages at marriage. She married him because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his children one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put and got married. It's 1744. There's no such thing as marrying somebody for citizenship or for a green card, or not even a country yet. So, she was right. Dad didn't die right away. So, Dad starts sending her apologetic gifts to this space. One of those gifts happened to be to plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight because that's how we still use it. She didn't know what to do with it when she got it, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always warm here. So once she had it figured out, she moved it to a plantation just north of here in Mount Pleasant, calls her dad back and says, rice plantations are going downhill over here. We can make a killing with this indigo. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is something absolutely unheard of. So that's her business. Let's get into the weird shit because that's why you guys are all here. Now, Eliza, she was the second wife named Eliza, back to back from Charles, 5 months apart. First wife Eliza dies, 5 months later he gets married again to another Eliza. It's really smart or really stupid, depending on how you look at it, guys. So, with that said, ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Ask which Eliza we're talking to. Figure out which one it is. I'm giving you the clue that it was an L. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. And then you can ask when that tragedy happened, and hopefully you get a specific year. Hopefully you've caught on that we do not ask yes or no questions on my groups. So, again, specifics. The children, you know there's at least one. There are more. You can ask how many and what their names were. That's about it. Here's why. There's a tragedy among those children. If we poke that bear with Eliza in that tragedy, all activity stops, including the EMF readings that we're getting out of Matt's device. So, just so you guys know, I've seen it happen time and time again. Usually when that thing goes down to 0, I know somebody poked the bear and we gotta go move on because we just ended it here. Don't ruin the tour for everybody. Remember, that's how many and what their names were. As far as what she is open about is her death. How old she was when she died. What did she die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral? These are all very specific questions. If you want to ask your own questions, because I can see Phoenix is like, I'm trying to think of other stuff to say. So with that, you can ask your own questions. First off, make sure it's something we can prove. I can't prove anything about her servants and slaves. There are no records, just so you know. A lot of people like to come back here and try to figure that out. I can't prove anything of that. You can't ask her how she felt about her marriage. I can't prove that she was happy other than a few quotes that she actually said about her husband. And yes, she did remain a widow after her husband's death. Remember, he died before her because he's over double her age. So I'm sure there was a big, long death between that. But again, we're going to stay in this space for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Trying to figure out like what's actually going on with these type of questions. I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you. However, I do have something new that I brought to the tour. I'm trying something else out. I have a trigger object. These are indigo seeds.
Ooh,
Yes.
Can I see?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
So, very hard to come by. I actually had to wait 6 weeks after I opened them up. So, or actually I ordered them. When they land on Phoenix, I want them to stay there. I want you to hang on to them as you're asking her questions. I want to see what happens, especially since yours isn't recording. So I want to make sure we're getting kind of, you know, some extra things out of that. But I've been using that for about a week now. Last night was a little heavier, it was a little different than what I normally capture in this
10.3?
location. Ooh, that's happy.
10.1?
Good stuff. Should be writing these down, huh?
5.6?
Maybe.
7.4?
Trying to get over here. She likes the seeds.
Yeah, you guys see what happens? That was 5.3.
16.9?
Okay, so at this point, anything above 16.9.
Okay.
I don't want to write down a trillion numbers. Let's just keep it progressing. So we are going to spread out in here. So John, I'm going to turn your camera on. And I will tell you that this guy's been locking up on me lately. So in the event that it locks up, come find me and I'll show you how to reset it and then what we have to do after that. Yes. So like, so yeah, lasers, be mindful of vehicles. You guys know how to work together already. Spirit boxes, turn them up. Get asking some questions. Unmute yours, Mr. Drake, and you'll be good to go. Again, I see that. Wow, that's hot. So, just to kind of give you guys a point of reference, behind your TV with all the wiring is about 40 milligauss, which is beyond what Matt's device can actually measure. It only goes to 25. Your microwave on high is about 150 milligauss, about on an average. And that's with you standing next to it with the door closed. Just to kind of give you guys a concept of like what these readings actually mean. Now, we're not anywhere, they've never even done an archaeological dig in this space. There's no way that these devices are going off from anything that's underneath this because there's nothing underneath this. There's at least nothing man-made. So, I mean, obviously the various readings that Megan's already getting is showing like they're all over the map. which is kind of crazy, especially when I brought out the Indigo. It's actually kind of
Yeah,
fun,
it's
right?
fun now.
You would think I'd have something in my pocket to make these devices go off, which I do get accused of all the time. All right, let's spread out. Do not go in between vehicles. If somebody's going to their vehicles, camera people.
Anything? Hello? Hello? Anybody here? If you're here, I say hi. Hmm? Hmm? It's a cool car. Hello? If you're here, let me know in a nice way, please.
So that way, if it goes back to the same color after you stop and stay still, you kind of move out the back to the same. So I'm getting rid of all the false positives. Right. So again, you should be clicking the thing all night long, constantly. You know, you're not going to wear it out. That's the easiest way to explain it. So constantly click. And the red screen and the antenna work independently. You can have a reading here and not here, and vice versa. There are two different types of
The
EMF
antenna
units.
is the
Motion.
colors on this.
Right. So, but again, that red screen is reading from a totally different type of
Okay, whenever you're ready, let me know.
All right. How are we hearing on these things, guys? Getting anything else? I want to know what you hear. So, have you gotten anything out of yours yet?
I'm just hearing a lot of crackling.
Yep. So that device usually only gives us like 10 to 12 voices that come through per night. So again, it's not going to be as constant as what she's hearing. Just so you kind of have that understanding. But I will say that 75% out of those 10 to 12 things you're going to hear are going to be
Gotta get my car. I'm sorry.
It's all good, bro.
not super. Oh, we're going to get out of here. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, you're fine.
Again, that's kind of how Are you getting anything out of yours? Have you heard any voices at all? Okay. Sure it's Laura and not Lauren.
There's something Laurel, Lauren, Laura.
Okay. Why do you think you heard 44?
44 later.
They got married at 17. Yes. That's what, these are the kinds of clues that we get. Like this is it. Like that's a perfect explanation. So what I'm looking for at this point is something to verify that obviously 44 is like, that's a direct, obviously she wanted to tell us she got married at 1744, but something along husband, wife, marriage, something with matrimony is probably going on with another device right now. So to be able to verify that, because 44 is a little too specific for it to be popping up out of nowhere. So reset, always reset. There you go, perfect. So 44 is obviously something very relevant. That's what we're looking at. Numbers and names normally don't lie, just so you guys have that understanding too. What's that? You just gave me Laura.
I know. Laura, Lauren.
I was asking you about
I know.
Lauren, and I'll explain more if something else pops up. I don't always reveal everything, but that 44 was too prominent, and I already said that she got married at 1744. So, but she obviously did not remember that, so it was a shock to her. Like, why did I hear 44? So, again, I'm going to be very focused on Drake's device, just because it's brand new.
I just heard marriage.
You heard marriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why'd you get married?
You do have a husband. How far back? 924. It's about 30 minutes ago. So
When did you get married?
she's not in the box.
I was resetting that. Oh! It's like a.
Eliza, who was your son? See how I take the terms and I kind of twist it into a new question? That way we can get a name. Or if you are one of Eliza's sons, tell us what your name is. Jessica, are you noticing anything crazy going on with your camera?
No. I mean, everyone's red. And what was I looking for again?
Blue and black spots to start moving.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's been a few of them. I just didn't call them out. I'm sure you'll see them later.
Yeah.
There's a few.
Man, you guys are intense. I love it. You don't know how many bad videos that I get from, especially from that one particularly, just because it is a little on the wobbly side.
I heard crab.
Crab? Don't think it's relevant, but I'm writing it down anyway.
You were thinking about crab legs.
Somebody's hungry. ears. I mean, that's obvious. Like, what's the other? Are you getting any readings on your screen at all? Like,
0 right
zero
now.
still?
Maybe 2. It's about the highest I saw.
This thing is staying up the sun.
If you're one of Eliza's sons, tell us what your name is. We have plenty of the boxes out that I bring every night.
Is it Peter?
It's not Peter. I want you guys to remember, whenever we're asking questions like this, the answers can go anywhere. There's 4
Gotcha.
spirit boxes in play, audio from the thermal imaging camera, and then my audio. So those disembodied.
20.2? 15?
Got born.
I like 20.2.
Is there something son born 44? I mean, what's these numbers?
Well, the 44 is when they got married. So I'm waiting to see, like, if another number's going to pop through, or if somebody's going to hear something relative to one of the other kids. Always reset. It's going to stop on its own.
I got 30.
30.
Yeah.
Nothing coming up out of yours.
It said there will be a person.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's the kind of phrasing we're looking for. There. So, which person? We need names. Ooh, that's flickering.
Keep getting 44.
We already have 44. Try again. We need more than just 44.
It
That
just-
flickering is definitely not coming from you, just so you know. Go ahead and reset.
I feel like this is the third.
Yeah, see those little flickering? Like that's not from you. Can you make that box go to blue? You have to get closer to it to make it go to blue. Try to keep it still.
Like close to my face?
No, I want you to keep it still so we can all see it.
Or
Can you make that box go to blue for us? Reset it.
them? Like the lower one, right?
Yeah, you don't need to keep resetting it. Just every time it goes off. Like it's giving it that flickering green. Make the box go to blue. You have to get closer to it. Not you, the ghost. Get closer. We want to see the color blue. Anybody hearing any other terms? Phoenix? Nothing? Got anything coming out of yours, Drake? Nothing? That flickering green is...
What is this?
I don't know who that is.
Me.
I'm going to call that part of the 80%.
There you go.
They were a pretty religious family. It's not uncommon to hear religious terms here. All right, things seem
fast.
You guys, it's kind of like slowing down even with this kind of reading. You've been steady the whole time?
Mostly.
Like
yeah,
between the yellow to red, basically? Okay.
A lot of time. I mean, it even. Whoa.
She's the ghost.
I'm not even here, guys.
All right, let's go back to the back. I'm going to get you guys the answers. Go ahead and stop your video. It didn't freeze up at all, John?
No, it did not.
Oh, I
Megan,
turned.
if you can hit that little white button in the back so it's not such a associated with her specifically. You guys didn't get any relative terms. Let's go ahead and mute that for me, so that way I'm not so distracted. You guys didn't get any terms relative of what happened to the mansion, but I'd like to go over it anyway. This is the only photograph we have of the mansion. This is after the Great Charleston Fire of 1861. So normally we get things wrapped around a fire, if not the term fire itself. The number 61 will pop up here, or the term December, because it did happen December 11th of 1861. Again, this is exactly where you're standing right now, just so you guys have that gist. This was almost 70 years after Eliza's death. So again, I at least like to give you guys the gist of what used to be here. This is the only photograph that's actually out there. Now, I won't brag a little bit, but I'm going to brag for a minute. Every tour guide in town is going to talk about a great fire of whatever year it happened in. You guys have been on other tours, you know that already. But my fire is pretty huge. So this one literally started up the street here, came down here. You're standing on the green dot in the map, by the way, if you guys can see that.
Oh, yeah.
It literally went from one side of the peninsula to the other. That's why they called it a Great Fire. I want to say it did like $9 million worth of damage in 1861. So the ratio to that is obviously pretty, yeah. Like it was a pretty giant fire. So Eliza Lucas was the first or the second wife, the one that planted the indigo. Eliza Lamb Pinkney was the first wife. So the maiden names that I usually search for are Lamb and Lucas. Eliza Lucas was 22 when she married Charles, who was 45. See, it doesn't sound so bad now, does it? So 22 and 45 are the numbers that usually pop up. 22 actually shows up here quite a bit, and I don't take when you're talking about the year, because you get car commercials that say, buy a 2022 Kia today. I discount those. Like, I take them out. I want the number 22 for a couple of reasons. First off, that was when how old she was, but it's also the year she was born, 1722. So again, 22 is pretty prominent here.
It's my birthday.
1722?
No, July 22nd.
Oh. Gave me like
I'm really not here.
1722, you're doing pretty good.
I was going to say, which calendar are you using? Because we only have 12 months here. So, let's see. The children, well, I guess we'll start there. There were 4 children total. We already told you about Charles, right? Signer of the Constitution. Thomas was the next one. So, another son. He actually fought in a Revolutionary War battle, the Battle of Camden, southwest of here. He got shot in his left leg and was captured by the British. Once he was released, he was left on a cane for the rest of his days. I'm just giving you all of the clues. We didn't get anything relatable to Thomas, but when I do hear his name, these are the kinds of clues I'm looking for. The next child is the one I asked you not to poke the bear with. His name was Baby George. Baby George doesn't have a grave or a headstone. Things get a little weird with this. So, Baby George, his death certificate has the same month and year as his birth and death. So we don't even know how old he was, whether it was days or weeks old. It's a possibility that they would have kept the baby mummified right here in the home, waiting for mom to pass away so he could be buried with his mother. Can't Google mummified baby without expecting a phone call. So this is just a theory and speculation. So kind of take it for what it is. The last child, her name was Harriet. Only daughter. She married in Horry. Myrtle Beach, just north of here, is in Horry County. That should give you an idea of where she lived. It wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza because cars weren't invented yet. Lots of letter writing. So when Harriet does show up here, which is very seldom, we do get terms wrapped around letter writing, ink, paper, published, that kind of thing. Eliza was 70 years old when she died. That's a long time for a woman to be living during colonial times. She died in 1793. Yes. So she died from breast cancer that we know of. Yeah, we didn't even know what breast cancer was.
That's what I'm saying.
We are going based off her medical records now. So she was going to Philadelphia for treatments for whatever they thought she had. That's where she died. That's where she's buried. And keep in mind, Stories in a Cemetery, the tour doesn't take you to actual cemeteries. Why? Because I don't get a whole lot of activity in graveyards and cemeteries, because you're not going to hang out where you're buried once you're gone. You're going to go to your mansion 400 miles away. That's why we go to spaces like this. So, that should also ask another question about Baby George. Baby George, if he was indeed mummified and kept here in a home waiting for his mother to pass, they would have had to transport that mummified baby from here to Philadelphia. So that way he could be buried with his mom by horse and carriage. How long was that trek to be able to carry a mummied baby? So, interesting stuff to think about. Let's see what else. Oh, the pallbearer at Eliza's funeral. Any guesses now that you know what year she died? 1793?
The president.
Going once?
Who was the president in 1793?
Twice? Washington.
George Washington.
At his own request, wanted to pay homage to her based on her indigo and what it did to help get this country started. Also keep in mind that the Pinkneys were mainly politicians. Washington only had 13 governors. He knew his governors well. One of them was a Pinkney. Even on Washington's visits to Charleston, he met with Eliza first for breakfast in Georgetown as he was coming into town. Again, this was to pay homage to a great lady that helped get his country started. It's a pretty big deal. Keep in mind, I want to tell you that I did play a little word trick on you. I'm the writer, I'm allowed to do that. When we got here, I told you I'm not going to give the Spirit Box teams questions like, what color is George Washington's white horse? I do that purposely at the beginning, and if you notice that the last question I gave you to ask is who was the pallbearer, so that way it's not forefronted on your mind, but it's subliminally put there. So you all passed with a fail because you all came up with Adams and other questions. So great job, everybody. I do that purposely just so I want to see who's going to be just repeating whatever it is that I say. So again, hey, it works every night. Yep, pass fail.
Until you get a historian that knows who the president was in 1793.
Well, I also want the answer to come through.
Oh, yes.
So, especially if it's coming through on a recordable Spirit Box or an open one, like what Drake's using, so that way we can all hear it. So, again, and we don't always get to George Washington as the EVP. It will usually come through as something else, like President First or President Wood. Why Wood? Because Washington had wooden dentures. Like, it's all of these little tiny clues that you have to know about Washington to understand the clues that are coming through. However, it is George Washington, the EVP, that actually taught me about that. It came through twice in 1 week. And I was like, there's got to be a link to Washington and the Pinkneys. Lo and behold, he was a pallbearer. So, again, I'm not telling you guys stuff that the tourism office told me that I have to tell you guys. Like, this is my thing. Like, I have nothing to do with what the city says that they have to give out. So you're dealing with an intelligent ghost here, which means you can ask questions and basically get an answer. Where we're going is not to that way. So where we're going is a residual ghost. I told you this is kind of a ghost hunting course, right? So residual ghost is basically watching a movie over and over again on a loop. Here's what's going to happen from here. We're going to go up 3 blocks up East Bay Street, so lasers are definite out. Okay. So we're not going to be filming until we reach Lodge Alley. Once we reach the alley, the two of you can definitely turn on your cameras again. We'll be making a right as soon as you see the crazy bricks. You'll see why. So the Spirit Boxes, I do want you listening for names. I'm not going to tell you which names and what gender. No more word tricks, I promise. Let me know what names you hear once we get into Lodge Alley and we stop to chit-chat. So that way you don't have to shout them out at me as you guys are following me up to Lodge Alley. EMF readers. They're gonna go off based off of the parking meters. You can ignore the readings. No ghosts are following us to Lodge Alley. Hopefully they're up in Lodge Alley. So again, you can ignore your readings until we get there. All right, any more questions about the Pinkneys? I really need you to focus and kind of I want you to hear something so bad. So, I mean, I know you gave me that one phrase, but I want something to come through because you were so excited about that device when it came through. So
I'm kind of tripping out because my mom passed away from breast cancer and I have a younger brother named George.
Ooh.
I was
Past
surprised
life.
more didn't come through. And it probably did. Remember, 40% is caught in real time.
Yeah.
So even when I review your video, who knows, we might have some voices on there that aren't ours. Or, I mean, I know you were chit-chatting on the phone there for a minute, so we'll kind of see if something in between those phone calls were going to come through.
But you knew the name. Why'd you say? You knew the name, right?
Yeah.
Why? How?
Knew what name? Oh, Laura. So the one I was asking you, was it Lauren? Is because I'm actually diving into, because I always change this tour up a little bit, because I do get a lot of repeat people and they don't want to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I want to take out Big John's and I want to add in the circular cemetery only because Henry Lawrence Pinkney is buried there. And as we're at the Powder magazine, 1 block away from it, I get a lot of clues to Henry Lawrence Pinkney. The name of his newspaper that he started, clues around the newspaper, the fact that he's a politician, he's a Pinkney. I get a lot of going on about that. So next week, I'm actually going to be going to talk to the church to see if they're going to give me access to actually take you guys into the cemetery.
The circular church?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was really cool, yeah. They made a circle church because double heights and corners, right?
Well, I also just told you that I don't like to go to graveyards because we don't get a lot of activity out of cemeteries, but for some odd reason, Henry Lawrence keeps popping up. And I figure if I can start with a Pinkney and end on a Pinkney, I can almost just do a Pinkney paranormal tour. It's a lot of P's to be going through in the middle of the night, but we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot all about that you had the name Laura, even though I wrote it down.
Yeah.
So let's go up to Lodge Alley and see what we can find up there.
Let's go.
I know I talk a lot, man. Hey, go for it. Let's do it. You can actually have that unmuted on the way there, because once we get inside, you're going to have to mute it again because it's a quiet area. So what about you? You seem like you're experienced. Is this what you were thinking you were getting yourself into?
Yeah, I'm just on a solo bucket list trip.
Okay.
So I was like, I've always wanted to go ghost hunting. I mean, I play with the Ouija board and tarot cards all day, but like, I've never actually used like devices to explore. But that was super trippy when you see the doors and breast cancer.
Yeah.
So it was the Pinkney one.
Is the Pinkney one what?
No, her name was Pinkney, the lady that died.
Yeah, Eliza Lucas.
Eliza Lucas. Okay, and Pinkney was the man.
Right. And her maiden name was Lucas. So she's Eliza Lucas Pinkney because she married Charles. You're going to get all the links tomorrow anyway. Oh, yeah. It's going to come up with that.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
Yeah, all of like these little things that are popping up, I give you a link to verify every single one of them. So, sorry guys.
No, you're good.
How long have you lived in South?
A little over 5 years.
I'm from San Diego.
Yeah, I see that you came from California.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, I'd rather be here. I landed and I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. I've never been to Cali. I've never been that far west. But I can only imagine the difference that you see coming off a plane from California.
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting South Carolina to be this green. Very beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you actually found the loophole, because normally the way I have things set up, you have to have 2 people to be able to book tickets with me. But the only way to do it is to go to TripAdvisor. And they won't change it. Because to be honest, if it was just you, I would have canceled it and asked you to move it, just because it's no fun with just one extra person.
Are you a hater on the single people?
Not necessarily, but it's no fun for you. My tickets are expensive.
Are you serious? This is fun.
No, it wouldn't be fun for you if it was just the 2 of us.
I mean, when I was in Salem doing a graveyard tour, it was just me and the tour guide, and we got drunk together. I had the best time. Scaring ghosts away. Yeah, no, I went to Salem by myself, and I had the funnest time.
We're going to see what happens with this truck. Let's kind of enter into the space a little bit. Definitely mute ears if you don't mind.
Should I turn the thing on?
Get some footage. Kind of keep it close to us. So kind of give you the gist of what goes on here. Did we lose somebody? Who did we lose?
I have tourmaline in my bag. Is that bad?
7. Where are the other 2? Who did we lose?
We lost the girl with the leopard and the stripes.
Yeah.
And her dude.
Yeah, Sarah and Matt.
Yep. I don't pay attention. You want to see something cool?
Well, I want to find them because they are holding here.
Touche.
How did we lose them?
Should we go back? Where are you guys from?
North Carolina.
Oh,
Raleigh.
nice. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Raleigh.
Sometimes I'm directionally challenged. Oh, is it? Okay. Is that? Oh, there we go. Is that? You want to trade?
I'm not getting just much. No, I don't trust myself with the camera.
I know.
It's
Me
very
neither. I was.
Sitting right there.
Walk out
That's a cool picture.
All right, guys, let's roll.
See, small world, right?
Absolutely. Getting small.
I know. Thirsty.
Which is why I carry 5. I normally suggest with the video cameras in here, you just point it down one way or the other, so Jessica, good job. So
What?
I usually say with the video cameras, you don't necessarily need to point it at me, you want to basically point it down one way or down another way.
Gotcha.
So let me talk about why we're here. So when we crossed that last crosswalk, that's where the original Charlestown Falls used to be. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown. This is one of the very first streets we ever had, which is why I like to bring you down here. If you hear any names along the way, spirit boxes. Any words come up on yours? Yeah? Not names. Sarah, do you get any names? So the reason I ask for names is because I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. So with that being said, I commonly get the names Benjamin and John on a 6 to 7 week loop. So every 6 to 7 weeks, Benjamin and John's names show up on your spirit boxes. We're in the middle of that 6 to 7 week loop. So again, it's one of those pieces where I kind of expected it's going to happen any day now. I don't know if it's lined up with the moon phase or what the case might be, but again, I always get the same 2 names over and over again. What's significant about these 2 names? They both lived here in 1801. When I say people lived down here, it wasn't like hundreds of little tiny houses down the street. It was like 4 to 5 people at a time. So when I get 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks, that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. I have no other significant information about that other than the fact that we're dealing with the stone tape theory. What does that mean? You're standing on Belgian blocks. These are made straight from granite. They come straight from the earth. For you paranormal enthusiasts, you've probably heard the term limestone before. Limestone comes straight from the earth. It's said to stir paranormal activity. Granite also comes straight from the earth, but it's also a rock. Rock staying in the same space, which these have been here since the 1790s, is said to hang on to the consciousness of memories, replaying them over and over and over again. Hence the stone tape theory. So, very interesting that I get the same 2 names, even though you guys didn't give me any names that you've heard along the way, because you probably didn't catch them. But again, I'm expecting those 2 names any day now. As far as people that lived here, or what was here before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. So we do, hence the name. Yeah, that's why I get the name lodge out. They had a Masonic lodge here. So we do get the term Freemason that showed up, Mason, Briggs, anything. The word Illuminati shows up about 4 or 5 times a year in this space only. The weird thing about that is it normally comes through one of the like the recordable spirit boxes. So first off, who's talking about the Illuminati on the radio for that to be able to come through? Second, why am I only hearing it when I'm in this space? So take that for what it's worth. I usually stall here for a few minutes because, again, this isn't a space where we can actually ask questions. It's a space where we just kind of see what it's recording to see if we can capture that stone tape theory in action.
So was this lodge, Washington come down to visit this Freemason lodge? He was a Mason.
Trying to think of the year that it actually was here. It's a great possibility. So he did spend a lot of time at the old Exchange of Provost building. So that's basically, they had balls down there to celebrate them being here. Him being out on the street, it's kind of rough because, I mean, yeah, he was followed everywhere.
Are we talking about like the adrenochrome Illuminati?
Basically, all we know is that it was a Masonic lodge. Do I know which part of the Illuminati conspiracy theory? No. I just get the term Illuminati when I'm down here.
Gotcha.
Did you ever know what number it was?
Which number?
Masonic Lodge number. For
Number
South
2.
Carolina. Oh shit.
Masonic Lodge number 2. Now, this is obviously a very peculiar place. It does a lot of things as far as the paranormal research and that kind of thing, especially with the things that happen here. The next space we're actually going to go to is another alley, but I can't take you all the way through. The reason being is because you guys are the annoying groups of the tours. So you guys have all the blinky lights and the noisemakers and that kind of thing. It is considered residential at the end. I explain more about like why I don't take you all the way through once you see the space. I still tell the story because it does stir up a lot of activity. We'll probably have terms and phrases and other things popping up around that particular story for the rest of the night after we leave there. That's how much it continues on from us talking about it. The other tours love to go down there as well. You're going to see those large groups of 20, and it's just not fair for 10 people to try to investigate a space like this with 2 groups of 20 in there, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. So again, we still stir up quite a bit just by talking about it outside of the space. When we exit the alley, video recorders, we will stop because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. So is your recording still going? I seen you like playing with buttons and stuff. I just want to make sure you're still going. No, you're not recording anymore.
No.
It should be.
She turned it off when she went to the bathroom, man. You don't want to record that.
It doesn't record any on-set noise.
No.
There you go. We're back on. All right, so video recorders stop as we exit, and then of course we're still on a no laser zone. I'll kind of give you the cue when we're good to go on that. Yeah. By all means, do so. But again, if you want to be discreet, because you're going to see a lot of people walking by, just like what you're seeing. So perfect. I mean, you can actually hold it up low.
To the left.
There you go. Yes. There you go. Now hit the square.
Oh, it's recording already.
We'll stop it and restart it again because then it'll be upside down. Every time you.
Sorry, guys.
You're good. I know I give a lot of instruction all night long.
Oh,
So
you need to print it out.
there's not enough time. So with that said, the alley behind me is called Philadelphia Alley now, but it used to be called Jewelers Alley. So this is where the jewels used to occur for the city of Charleston. You're going to get EMF from the building because it's got wiring inside. So anything that's steady, I still consider a pattern. So if it stays steady like that and it's just on, that just means we're either close to a pole or you're right next to a building or standing on a grid for a parking meter. So, but we all tell the same story of the duel that actually occurred down here because we can actually prove that it actually occurred. So let's get into it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks the doctor is just after her money, so he tells her to get rid of the doctor. The doctor moves to Charleston to prove that he's not just after Amanda's money. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston, but somebody walking by seeing what's going on. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop there for just a moment, just because you're ghost hunting. Really? Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI shows up here quite a bit, but we always need that secondary clue, so we need to know who it belongs to. So anyway, Ralph says, hey dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside that's going to try to kill you. I got friends at 59 Church Street where you can rent a room and you'll be safe. So he takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. You know, the doctor's practice starts to take off, so he's making his own money now. Amanda's moving down soon, and he's proving his point. He becomes known as the whistling doctor because he literally whistled all the time. It's the late 1700s. By the way, every haunted city you will ever go to has a cliched whistler ghost. Ours just happens to be a doctor. So, with that said, the doctor and Ralph go see plays together, but that's because your phone's on top of them. They go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the way the hierarchy went. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare. They're talking about the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They get pretty mad and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He has friends at the newspaper. Puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Jewelers Alley. We're going to settle this and somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 10 paces. The doctor turns, points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove his point. But Ralph still has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap of the doctor. The doctor drops. His friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street, and he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. He's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. So, they say as you walk through this alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. Is that very campy and cliche? Yes, but do I have some in the background? I do. When I used to take my tours back there, it was all about the audio. We would get very faint whistling in the background. If you're going to try to go down there with your voice recorders and try to capture those whistles, keep in mind, every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle. I do it every single night on my way back to my garage. So we end up there, my garage is right there, and when my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. Especially since I've been booted out, I definitely throw that whistle every single night. So here's why I got kicked out. This is the fun stuff. This alley didn't always come all the way through, which means the bricks on the other side are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. We do have one handprint in one of those bricks and fingerprint swipes in the other bricks. If you're unsure what sun-dried bricks are from slave kids, it's basically slave kids had to turn those bricks every hour to bake them in the sun. So, full handprint in there kind of shows how far we've come. I used to take my groups all the way through this alley. Everybody wants to put a spirit box or a EMF meter near it. I look at that brick the same way I do a gravesite. Kid's not going to want to be staring at that brick in the afterlife. I will also tell you that that brick with the handprint in it is outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion.
Oh.
November 26, 2020, he come out not so happy.
Oh boy.
So, the next day was Thanksgiving, November 27th, 2020. So I got a phone call on November 28th. I was told to either reroute my tour or go down halfway like all the other tours, and I felt like it just wasn't fair to you guys. So that night, I had a full tour. It's Black Friday, and I'm still new in the tourism world, and I told my team, we're going to wing it. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to tell you what I know about this female pirate, and let's go see what happens. Before I tell the story, somebody hears the name Anne on one of the spirit boxes. Keep in mind, I didn't even believe this story. It was one of those, let me test it out with these folks. So, again, I'm a vampire guy, not pirates. Like, pirates weren't my thing. So, I get up there, and then all of a sudden, somebody hears the number 300. I have no idea what 300 means. The next morning I'm doing the research. We were there November 28th, 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her trial. Wow. I'm like, damn it, now I gotta read about pirates so I can keep it in the tour. So, I'm even going, like, watching Black Sails right now just to, like, see how they work the ships and that kind of thing. Just because I'm always about pirates all of a sudden these past couple of years. But as we kind of go up to the next space, it's going to be about myths and legends, so it's about what you guys hear. There's like 15 stories on that corner. I know which ones are true, which ones are not. So of course, I always look for the key words that you guys are hearing on your spirit boxes about the true ones. If you guys don't hear anything that's relevant, I'll go into my normal go-to quick, like here's a couple of things on this corner, then we're going to deep dive into that female pirate, like even further so like what we did with the Pinkney Mansion site. And that'll be our last stop, and it's a big last hurrah. It's a hit or miss, because Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town, and I'll explain why we choose that specific place once we get there. So video recordings, if you guys want to continue, you can, but just keep in mind, like I want to make sure you're still not locking up. It's still running? It's still moving?
I got a bounce. I got a date.
Okay.
And I'm on vacation, so I'm trying to get...
The device at the bottom?